Check.
I grew up in a church where, like, the concept of doubting your faith was frowned upon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you got to have it together.
Yeah, I was a student that was like, hold on, I have some mixed feelings about this, which that's a key word, feelings.
Yeah.
But I came from a background where it was like, oh, well, then you just need to pray more. You need to just read more. You need to just try harder.
Yeah.
And you look at multiple stories throughout the Bible, like the two that stand out to me the most. One, the kind of famous one, Doubting Thomas, who all the disciples are like, yo, Jesus, was raised from the dead. He's back. And Doubting Thomas is like, I will not believe until I see, the nails in his hand. Or what did he call it? The scars in his hand?
Yeah,
scars in his hand.
Yeah.
For more than nails were, yeah.
So that's a prime example of someone that's like, no, I have severe doubts that he's actually back. And then another one I think of that maybe doesn't get talked about as much. Keep stealing my light.
I do, because I'm out and I'm like, I have a new creation going, so.
Is Moses. Like,
you
talk about the foundation of the Jewish faith. Moses asked God, like, well, who are you? Who do I say that you are? And in both of those situations, God isn't like, you idiot, why'd you ever doubt this? He invites them, or God invites them into like a deeper understanding and a deeper relationship with them.
He provides them with some evidence, along the way, like
evidence,
like a burning bush that cannot be explained. And he's like, what the?
He's like,
I can maybe understand.
And he's like, but I continue to doubt because I got this inability to talk, God. I talk real weird. And he's like, don't worry, I got you. And he just keeps, but he keeps with them. You know what I mean?
Like, he's like walking him along the way. And that's kind of like what I like to, that's how I view, like, at least my relationship with God, that it's like you are taking one step at a time in a certain direction, right? And then it's never, because sometimes, I don't know, man, like sometimes in the church we say this word that I really hate. It's backsliding. Like, and so it's like when you hit that moment of doubt, it's like, oh, they're backsliding. What does that even mean?
Dude, I haven't heard that for a minute, but that's
I don't
good word.
I remember that word.
I think that's just
I don't have
right
any fond memories of that word, but I also don't know what it means. Like,
yeah, I think I went to my youth pastor once and I was like, man, I've just been backsliding lately. It's like, no, I haven't. In fact, I would consider it growth. I think like anytime you feel like far away from God or really close to God, these are just moments along the way. They're not steps backwards. In fact, every step I would say is forward in growing and learning through your doubt. And on the other side, we would really hope and pray that someone would become closer to God because of their doubt or because of the things that they're figuring out, and help other people also figure out and rationalize through this thing we call doubt.
Yeah. So. One of the books I read, because I grew up in the church, left when I turned 18 because I got burned by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then about 4 or 5 years later, started going back to church again and reignited my relationship with God. But one of the books I was reading gave this really cool picture of like what it means to be a Christian and how to navigate the Christian faith. And it was like, he explained the story of parents teaching their baby how to walk. You know what I mean? When a baby first like stands up, it's super shaky, and more often than not, they fall right on their butt again. Yeah. But the parents are never like, oh, you dumb baby, like, how dare you not know how to stand up and fall on your butt.
You dumb baby.
They celebrate the small win of like, hey, this baby just like started to be able to stand and get their legs underneath them. And I think that's such a cool picture of like how God views us too. Like, sure, if you really screw up, there's going to be repercussions for your actions. But when you're navigating a Christian life and trying to understand who God is, he's not going to like get upset at you for just learning how to walk. He's going to praise the attempt to like know him more and develop a deeper relationship with him.
For sure.
So that's just a picture that's always kind of like stuck in my mind.
No, that's good.
One good phrase that I have picked up from church was like, we're all on a journey.
Yeah.
And I think that was like a more of a healthy way to look at it, is like, whether you're quote unquote backslidden or you're, on fire, whatever you want to use, I think we're all on a journey, and realizing that to help, your brother and your sister out as they walk in, their relationship with Jesus, and to be there and know that because we're all on our journey, we're all at different points, and somebody's already been in that point that you're in. I think so many times we isolate ourselves in our deconstruction, thinking that we're the first person to think these thoughts or go to this place or have these worries, when in actuality, your pastor, your youth leader, your mom and dad probably even have had that exact same doubt. And if you can be open and honest with people, with safe people that are have a good head on their shoulders, you can really move along on your journey.
Yeah. That's a gold nugget right there. That's valuable for sure.
I think it's totally okay to have seasons of doubt and have questions. Yeah. But as soon as you sit in those questions and not seek like an answer or start trying to figure out like a solution to, maybe not a solution, but like, I think that's ultimately what God's calling us to, is like, these questions are an invitation into a deeper relationship. So sure, the older generation might not know exactly what you're going through because everyone has different experiences, but there's probably a lot of similarities that like insight and help can be given to, you know what I mean?
For sure.
That's what happened to me. When I doubted, I just isolated from everybody. I was afraid to say I'm having these questions, and so those thoughts just kept spewing in my head, and ultimately where I quote unquote doubted myself out of a relationship with God, if that's possible. I don't know.
I love that. Snaps all around, man. Snaps for McKay,
Picasso.
Ooh, I like it. Picasso. TikTok vibes.